insurance, life and general. I remember Hazrat Muslim Maud had discussed this with my brother and had said that I will set up a committee to examine and to discuss. And we as a Jamaat, we
that shows that the Ahmadis, even the most learned Ahmadis in India, are not keeping pace with the Ahmadis in Pakistan.
Yes,
about the latest developments and thoughts and everything. So something should be done about it, that whatever happens in Gurdwara is conveyed to the Ahmadi Muslims in India, so that they keep their pace, their mental and the pace of progress with the rest of Ahmadis. Because a lot has been done and published on this. Malak Safar Rahman Sahib is the secretary of Majlis-e-Iftar. And this subject has been taken up at various times. First during the time of Hazrat Muslim Maud at various occasions. And it was taken up partly and partially and was left unattended because perhaps the time was not right as yet. And the opinions were very strongly divided and polarized. And later on, during the last days, under the auspices of the non-board group, this aspect was taken up, and I was also one of the members to investigate this matter of life insurance and other insurances. Also I wrote a short paper for the eyes of the members of Majlis-e-Iftar. Later on, in the third Khilafah, under instructions from Hazrat Khalifa, we took the question up and discussed it, thrashed it to the bare skin. And ultimately the decision was taken and that was published in Al-Fadl. But for certain reasons, the whole decision was not published entirely. Only a short reference was given to that decision. And it was mentioned that you are permitted to go for insurance under certain circumstances, and with the condition that you take prior permission from a committee appointed for this very purpose, and you write your conditions which compel you to get insured, and secondly explain exactly what conditions will be signed, will be governing your deed of contract with that insurance company. Because it was said that certain insurances with certain conditions can still be illegal according to Islam. They are not permissible. But there are conditions governing insurance today which are permissible in Islam. So what those conditions are, we don't go into the detail and do not want to leave it to the judgment of every individual. But a committee would decide, you just write your conditions in terms of contract and they will decide. Malak Saiful Rahman Sahib, Malak Yabulka Sahib, late Maulana Abulka Sahib and myself, we were the members of that committee. But unfortunately, very few decisions were taken by that committee. Because among other things, Maulana Abulka Sahib was the one member who had opposed even this much leniency and license. And he remained adamant. So although we would overrule him because we were in the majority, and also the decision of the Majlis was in our favor, yet he was very hesitant to come and attend, not interested, So this is why very few sessions of that committee were held. Now why all this? Instead of giving a straightforward statement that nowadays under these conditions insurance is permissible. Because Hazrat Muslim Maud had mentioned in one of his books or sermons that apart from other things, I don't want Ahmadis to be encouraged to go for insurances. Because in fact what will happen would be this, that instead of paying their chandas, they will be directing those chandas to insurance. And the spirit of sacrifice will be hurt. So I don't want to promote it, even if I understand it to be Islamic and permissible. I am hesitant to go for that. That was the opinion of the Muslim out which prevented us from going whole hog and all out for this. And I think it is a very valid opinion, because if you become this insurance minded in one respect, your spirit of sacrifice will somehow be injured or dampened at least. And if that happens, then the whole system of the chanda would be adversely affected. And the second thing which he didn't say, but I understand it to be very true, is that our chanda is the insurance. The chandas which we give for the sake of Allah are in themselves insurance. And that is the type of insurance in spirit as well as in letter too, in the sense that for the rest of the people in the world, there is no guarantee, no responsibility for their losses, or let's say for the calamities that hit them of any sort, if they are not insured. But Ahmadiyyat cannot overlook the problems of individual Ahmadis. And every day we receive letters from various Ahmadis who sometimes commit their own mistakes and blunders and suffer for them. Yet when they write to me, I refer the matter to the relevant department of Southern Ahmadiyya, and a huge sum is every year spent to mitigate the sufferings of individual Ahmadis. That is a sort of insurance. But that insurance is driven from our faith and from the spirit of the community, and it is met by the same chandas which we give. So a sort of insurance, and a much better insurance, is already in operation in Jamaat Ahmadiyya. And those who suffer particularly in the name of Allah because of, for no other fault of theirs, but because they are Ahmadis, in their case Jamaat goes much more forward, and tries to re-establish them in so many ways. This happened in 74, this is happening now, and it will always happen. And in fact it will further improve. We have our limitations, of course, but a time would come when the limitations would be less, and the income of the Jamaat, the relative income, the income relative to such atrocities, I mean, that will be much greater, of course, inshallah.
Hazrat Muslim Maud had said this in the lecture on economic structure of this Rouhani, that Nizam-e-Nau will be the mother and the protector of the rights.
So a time would come when not only spiritually, but literally, a system of insurance would be in operation in Ahmadiyya, without anybody having to pay for it. You know, a few would be sacrificing and a larger number would be benefiting. What better insurance could people require than this?